חגיגה, פרק א', משנה ח'. משנה זו הובאה כאן, so this Mishnah is brought משום ההלכות חגיגות הנזכרות בה. Because it doesn't really involve חגיגה, but there's a couple of הלכות that has to do with חגיגה that is mentioned here. שכן המשנה באה להשמיענו, this Mishnah comes to teach, שעניין שלמי חגיגה לא נזכר בפירוש בתורה. It comes to teach you, there's not a verse to tell you that you have to bring a sacrifice for חגיגה. It says, ושמחת בחגיך. It doesn't say, ושמחת בחגיך be happy. How did you get from that to sacrifice? אלא נלמד בדרך רמז בלבד. You have to learn it through a hint. Yeah. For example, ושמחת בחגיך, how is a person happy? A person is happy by eating meat. It's a whole spiel. ואגב ענייננו זה, and because of this, הובאו גם שאר הדברים הנזכרים במשנתנו. So because of this, we also have other things that are mentioned in this Mishnah, that, in other words, it doesn't say specifically in the Torah, it's only beremez. It's only hinted. היתר נדרים. The whole concept of היתר נדרים. Somebody made a vow, דיני התרת נדרים. So somebody made a vow, and then he goes to a chacham, to a sage, to annul his vow, the annulment of the vow.
They bring היתר נדרים because they want to show you that this is also not from the Torah?
No, it's not from the Torah. It's only...
It doesn't specify.
It doesn't specify directly. It is learned from the Torah. Hinted. And it is from the Torah. But it's not... על ידי חכם, או על ידי שלושה, or by three הדיוטות, between the base din, כמבואר במסכת נדרים. So the whole concept of making a vow and a court system or a sage being able to annul the vow, where is it? פורחין באוויר. In order to see them in the Torah, you have to do like you say in Hebrew, גלגולים באוויר. You have to find it, like over here, to look from like this in order to see where it is. פורחין באוויר. It's very hard to see them directly in the Torah. מעט רמז יש להם במקרא. A little bit of a hint there is in the Torah. ואין להם על מה שיסמכו. So how do you learn them? So are you so sure that it's there? אלא כך מסור לחכמים בתורה שבעל פה. In other words, the Gemara is going to have discussion. Maybe you learn from this verse and the Gemara is going to say no. Maybe you learn from this verse, the Gemara says you could, but you could also learn it differently. And all like this and like this. And in the end, the Torah is going to say, you know what? The Gemara is going to say, how do we know it? Torah le-Moshe Sinai. That's the way we received it. In other words, you tried to learn it from the verses. You could, but you could also not. So then the Torah says, everything is correct, but this is the way we established it from the days of Moshe Rabbeinu. בגמרא אמרו, in the Gemara this says, שסמכו היתר נדרים על מה שנאמר. We're going to see. So how did they get to היתר נדרים? If it's not, where's the hint even? Where's the hint? It says, לא יחל דברו. It says that a person took a vow, he's not allowed to go against his vow. He has to do whatever he said. לא יחל. He's not allowed to make chulin for his speech. In other words, he made his speech holy. He cannot make it non-holy now. He has to keep it. So it says, why it says, לא יחל דברו, הוא אינו מחלל. So it says, you learn from me that he is not allowed to make it chulin, אבל אחרים מחללים לו. But other people כן מחללים לו. Yeah? But it says, but that's, how else would you say it? If there's no other way to say it, but this is the only way to say it. If you not go against his vow, that's how you say it. So you're trying to learn other things. You don't have to necessarily learn it that way. It's a simple meaning. There's not an extra word over here. There's not an extra thing. You're trying to learn something that's not really there, that you can learn both ways. ברם אין זו אלא אסמכתא בלבד. It says, yes, you can maybe learn it that way, but it's not so strong, this learning. Halachot Shabbat. What about the laws of Shabbat? All the laws that we know for Shabbat. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara מבואר, it's explained, כגון מה שאמרו שמלאכה שאינה צריכה לגופה, פטורים עליה. For example, the concept in the Torah that says that if you don't need the object that you're trying to do, you're, when you say patur aval asur, yeah? But you don't get lashes for it, or you don't get, for example, somebody burnt something down. Yeah, he had a flame already, and he burnt something else down. Yeah? And ashes were created. He says, what did they build? I didn't build anything. You built ashes, and the guy writes with ashes. So you made ink, for example. But I didn't want it. I didn't want the ashes. So the Gemara says, patur aleh. Yeah.
It exists.
Yeah. So that's patur aleh. But it's not, you're not obligated because you didn't have in mind to create ashes. Something like this. מפני שמלאכת מחשבת אסרה תורה. Because the Torah says it's only if you had in mind to make ashes, for example, then you're obligated. והרי מלאכת מחשבת אינה כתובה בשבת, אלא במשכן. In מלאכת מחשבת, the only place it's written is in the building of the tabernacle. ולמדים שבת ממשכן, מתוך סמירות הפרשיות. And so how do we know the 39 מלאכות, or how do we know the concept that you need מלאכת מחשבת? Just from the fact that it's one parsha next to the other parsha. There's no other, the Torah doesn't even discuss it, that you need to think about. Yeah? Okay? חגיגות, or חגיגה. הלכות חגיגה השניות מסכתנו. All the laws of חגיגה that we learned, והמעילות, הלכות מעילה. מעילה, what does it mean? And כשאדם מועל בהקדש, when somebody says this sheep goes to the temple, and then he walks with this sheep, or he cuts the wool from this sheep, ונהנה ממנו, and he takes some enjoyment of the thing that he designated for the temple. כמבואר במסכת במילה, הרי הם כהררים התלויים בשערה. So it says, over there, they're a little bit better. See, נדרים and Shabbat is, you can even argue, logically, you can argue if they exist or not. The only reason we do it is because Torah למשה מסיני. We received it. It says, Chagigah ve'meilot are on the second level. What does it mean? It means we have a little bit more proof, but it's not like concrete proof. You know, it's not like tell you exactly what to do. It's like a little bit more, but it's not much more. Let's go this way. הרי הם כהררים התלויים בשערה. The way he describes it, there, you have mountains of laws that you hang on one detail. Yeah, from one detail, you're going to tell you learned 50 things. You know, that's very... שהם מקרא מועט והלכות מרובות. You have one little word, and from that one word you learn... You learn like 20 laws. That's right. שיש בהם הרבה הלכות התלויות ברמז במקרא מועט. There's many laws that are hung on one little detail. כהר התלוי בשערות הראש. Just this is like a mountain that you hang on a hair. Hadinin, so that's the second level. Chagiga and Meila. Dinim, the laws, which means mishpatim, all the things, the mishpatim, dinim, dinei mamonot, how much money I owe you, how much money you owe me, ve'avodot, dinei korbanot, the laws of the sacrifices, hatarot ve'atmeot, what is pure, what is impure, dinei ta'ara ve'tumah, the laws of impurity and purity, ve'arayot, dinei arayot, and the laws of what is prohibited relationship, what is not prohibited relationship. בגמרא מבואר, אפילו הלכות שאינם כתובות בפירוש בתורה, even laws that are not specifically written in the Torah, כגון נפש תחת נפש, for example, soul for a soul, which we don't do soul for a soul, שדורשים ממון, that we learn that it's bani, או הולכות הדם, בקורבנות, or what we do with the blood in the sacrifices, that we have to bring it and sprinkle it, or שיעור מקווה בדיני טהרה, or the 40 se'ah, when it comes to purity and impurity, when it's mikveh, or שיעור שרץ שמטמא כעדשה, and we need how much of non-kosher animal שרץ that's going to make us impure, בדיני טומאה, or דין ביתו מאנוסתו, or for example, a law from his daughter from somebody he raped, בהלכות עריות, if she's not allowed to him, is she an arayot or not arayot? I don't know the rule if she is or she's not, but all these things, yeah, יש מהם על מה שיסמכו. There is to them on what they rely on. What does it mean? that you can logically come. In other words, over here, all the name Mamonot, all the name Tuma and Tara, logic is going to dictate, for sure you can get it from logic. So in other words, so here we learn...
Logic from the Torah.
Yeah. In other words, you can use your brain, I can bring it, I can show it to you in the Torah logically. Yeah? Logic. That's what I mean. So, for example, so let's learn. If you have neder, laws about nedarim, yeah, I cannot show it to you logically. Yeah? I have in the end to rely on I cannot show you logically, because logically you can argue with me that you don't learn this from the Torah. Even Shabbos, logically you can argue. But once you accept in Shabbos, once you accept that it's close and therefore I learn, then you say, but I have to accept it. It's like still there. But all the rest that he described over here, that I can prove it to you in the Torah. In other words, I can take it to you and logically prove it to you, like, he owes him $5. That's it. That's it. You won't be able to argue back. In all the other things, you'll be able to argue back. Purity and impurity, I can show it to you in the Torah. Okay. יש להם ממש יסמכו, שלכתוב ילמדו עם קודם. הן גופי תורה. These are the body of the Torah. בגמרא מבואר, the Gemara explains, כל סוגי ההלכות שנלמדו משנתנו, it says, all the laws that are mentioned in the Mishnah, בין אותם ההלכות שיש להן על מה שיסמכו, whether they are laws that you can rely on a specific verse to learn, בין אותם שהם כהרים התלויים בסערה, whether it is like mountains that you hang on one hair, בין אותם שאין להם על מה שיסמכו, and those that you can't even find anything logically to there, כולם גופי תורה הם. They're all part of the Torah. In other words, in the Torah you have three kinds of laws. Yeah, you have logical things you can learn directly from the Torah. You have some things that you have to hint in the Torah, and from that you build all mountains. Yeah, and there are some things that you can't even learn from the Torah at all. The Torah says something else completely, and you have to get it from the Torah of Moshe Sinai. That it's not what it says; it's what I'm telling you. Yeah, three different levels. All of them are part of the Torah. All the three levels.